What's up, everybody? My name is Brandon Duchair Craven, and welcome to the very first review of an NXT TakeOver event. This one was called NXT TakeOver The End. The way this is going to go is I'm going to do this just like all the other pay-per-view review shows. I'm going to talk about each match. I'm going to choose my match of the night and all that good stuff. And then at the end of the show, I'm going to talk about the recent call-ups to the main roster. Now, all the people you see on Raw and SmackDown right now, like Dana Brooke, Charlotte, Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Paige, Apollo Crews, Enzo, and Cass. All these guys have come from NXT, so they know what they're doing. They train these guys to be WWE superstars. So let's get to the show, and then I'm going to talk about all these main call-ups. First match of the night, Andrade Cien Almas versus the Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. This was the debut match for Almas, who worked as a masked wrestler in Mexico by the name of La Sombra. This was basically a match of cruiserweights. So many highlights during this match, I can't name them all. Almas was your winner. I want to give this match a 10. Get it? Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. But I can't. My ratings won't let me go that high. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5. Next match on the card, the NXT Tag Team Championship was on the line as the Revival took on the champions American Alpha. Jason Jordan and Chad Gable remind me of the team of Charlie Haas and Shelton Benjamin. They're a great tag team. These are the two up-and-coming tag teams in WWE NXT. I wouldn't be surprised if one of these teams got called up very soon. They're just both that good. Chad Gable is a former Olympic athlete, so it's almost like American Alpha tries to pay homage to another former Olympic gold medalist. Case in point, a double ankle lock during the match. On the flip side of that coin, the Revival reminds me of an old school Ole and Arn Anderson of the Four Horsemen. It's really difficult to pick out individual highlights in these matches because they're full of them. That's why you won't see me give a whole lot of highlights during these matches. I'll give a few during some of the matches, but a lot of these matches are just highlight after highlight, and it's hard to pick them. The Revival are the first two-time NXT Tag Team Champions in this match because they won at the end of the night, or they won at the end of this match. Great match overall. I'm going to give this match a solid 4 out of 5. I didn't like the end because American Alpha basically only had the titles for one pay-per-view. They held it during WrestleMania. They got them during WrestleMania weekend. During the other NXT TakeOver, and they basically held it from that one up until this one. So it wasn't that long of a title reign. So I didn't like that. That's the only reason why I give this a 4 out of 5. So, great match overall. At the end of the match, two very large guys came in and attacked American Alpha. They were led by WWE Hall of Famer Paul Ellering, who is the legendary manager of the Road Warriors. That blew my mind. It was great to see Paul Ellering back in a ring again, managing a team, and I got high hopes for this team coming through. Come to find out later, during this past week's NXT, they were called the Authors of Pain. So we'll see. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries was next. I'm going to go ahead and say it. Nakamura is just weird, but dude, I'd pay money to see this guy wrestle any day of the week. He's just that good. He's from New Japan. He's great. I mean, it's awesome to see this guy wrestle. Austin Aries looks to have hurt his ribs before the match even started. He was heavily taped. They didn't really give a reason as to why. Aries was dominant throughout the match, though, despite all that. A huge suicide dive from Aries in the middle of the match. There's an MMA style to Nakamura's fighting with the knees and the kicks he uses. I mean, they're just brutal. Plus, he used a triangle choke during the match, too. So that kind of throws it to MMA as well. Found out, too, he's also a former MMA fighter, so that may have something to do with it. A Death Valley driver onto the apron by Aries. It looked absolutely brutal. I'm not even sure. Forget the ending of the match. I was surprised this didn't end Nakamura's career because it was just that bad. It looked horrible. I mean, it was a great spot, but it just looked horrible. Your winner, though, after hitting his finisher, the King Shasa, I think that's how you pronounce it. If it's not, don't kill me. Shinsuke Nakamura was your winner. God, I hope I pronounced that right. Outstanding match overall. Another 4 out of 5. This is unprecedented on a pay-per-view review show for the Rolling Wrestling Review. My match of the night is going to be hard to pick. I'm telling you, it's hard to pick. It's going to be difficult, y'all. Next up, the NXT Women's Champion Asuka versus Nia Jax. Nia Jax is a very powerful women's wrestler. She has a lot of pressure on her because of her lineage, because she is cousins with The Rock. You know, she's cousins with Roman Reigns, the Usos. She's got that lineage of the NOI family. This time will tell what her career will be, but I think she has a very promising career. Asuka just got dominated throughout this match. She had spurts of offense, but she got absolutely woman handled during this match. It was hard to watch. She did win the match, however, so still your NXT Women's Champion, after that one spurt of offense that got her through it, was Asuka. Overall, 3 out of 5. I'm still waiting for Bayley to come back and get her rematch. I'm a huge Bayley fan. I love you, Bayley. I love you. But no, seriously, I'm waiting on Bayley to come back so we can have that rematch. It was a great match back at the other NXT event, NXT TakeOver Dallas. That was a great match. Bayley didn't tap out. She passed out from the Asuka lock. So I'm waiting on that rematch. All right. So before we talk about the main event of the evening, how can we not talk about that cameo by Bobby Roode? I mean, I hope they actually sign him. He's been wrestling for them over on the UK tour, so here's hoping. Please, WWE, don't drop the ball like you did with Eric Young and James Storm. For those that don't know, they weren't signed by the WWE when they wrestled in NXT for those couple of matches. They just brought him in. They brought Young in to face Samoa Joe on an episode of NXT. Same with James Storm during his one match. They weren't signed. They were free agents, but they were doing tryout matches, and they just didn't sign them. So James Storm, I believe, went back to TNA, and Eric Young is still not with the company. So here's hoping they sign Bobby Roode. Next up is your main event of the evening, the first ever steel cage match in NXT history. For the NXT Heavyweight Championship, Samoa Joe comes in as the champion, and the Demon Finn Balor came in as the challenger. Speaking of Finn, did anyone notice the black and the white paint he had? Maybe a sign of things to come with a certain group of the main roster? We'll see. That'd be cool, because he was the founder of a certain club back in New Japan. So we'll see. Brutal shots thrown by Balor and Joe in this match. Brutal shots. They didn't hold back on each other. Joe was your typical monster, just manhandling Balor at times. Both wrestlers kicked out of each other's finishers multiple times, might I add. A couple of high spots. Balor kicked Joe from the top rope right on the chin. I mean, you heard the pop that he hit Joe with, and it knocked Joe off of the top rope, and he landed on the rope, or he landed beside the rope, in between the cage and the rope, and he ended up crotching Balor on the rope. It was hard to watch. A sling blade by Balor off of the top rope, which was really cool. It was the twisted neck breaker that he does. It was really cool. And what ended the match, a highlight that ended the match, was a muscle buster off the second rope when Balor was going to climb out of the cage. Joe caught him and ended up muscle busting him off the second rope, which gave Samoa Joe the win. So still your NXT champion, Samoa Joe. It was a great battle between two of the top stars in NXT. I'm going to give this one a 4 out of 5. And honestly, I can't pick. It's hard to pick a main event or a main match of the night, but I got to pick this one. Samoa Joe and Finn Balor for the NXT title, first ever steel cage in NXT. That was my match of the night. Absolutely fantastic match. These two guys have great chemistry together, so that's my match of the night. All right, let's talk about some recent call-ups. Now, let's first look at Emma. Now, Emma She was already on the main roster. She came from NXT first, and then she was on the main roster. Some things happened. She got sent back down to NXT. When she was first called up to the main roster, she was a face. Then when she went back down, she ended up turning heel, and that's the character that she came back as, was a heel. And it's absolutely been the best thing for her. Right now, she is out with a back injury, and it's going to require surgery, so no telling when she'll be back. But Emma, you're awesome. I hope you come back soon. Next up was her partner in crime, Dana Brooke. She got called to the main roster recently, and right now she is partnered with Charlotte in kind of an Arn Anderson role to Charlotte's Ric Flair type. That is the best thing that ever could have happened to Dana Brooke. It's awesome to see her kind of develop into a character of, she doesn't really talk much. She is a fighter. She is like an old school Arn Anderson, where she is the powerhouse of a group, and it's great to see. Enzo and Cass. Can't say enough about these guys. Enzo is one of the best talkers in the business right now, other than Xavier Woods. Enzo and Cass are two of the best, are two guys in the tag team right now that are at the top of their game. If you watched Money in the Bank last night, it was absolutely fantastic. They had a fantastic match. That's actually going to be my third video of this week. God help me. Is my Money in the Bank pay-per-view review. So stick around for that. That's coming up this Wednesday. But Enzo and Cass are absolutely stellar as a face tag team. They have the crowd eating out of the palm of their hand every time they come out and talk and wrestle. It's awesome. The Vaudevillians, their current rivals. The Vaudevillians are the classic heel tag team. They don't talk a lot. When they do, the crowd boos them. But they're a very good heel tag team. They can wrestle their butts off. They're awesome tag team. All these wrestlers coming out of NXT know what they're doing. They spent time in developmental. They know what they're doing, and it's amazing. Baron Corbin. Let's talk about Baron Corbin for a minute. Right now, he's been stuck in a rivalry with Dolph Ziggler. I'm anxious to see what he can do when he wrestles somebody else. Baron Corbin was very good in NXT. He was the classic monster heel. He reminded me of almost like a Kane character, because he's just that classic monster, doesn't care. He's a loner. They call him the lone wolf. So it's going to be interesting to see what Baron Corbin can do once he's done with this rivalry with Dolph Ziggler. Hopefully the match at Money in the Bank was the last one. And finally, the latest call-up, Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is a very big guy, but he moves like a cruiserweight. It's amazing to see what Apollo Crews can do in the ring. He was out absolutely fantastic in NXT. He didn't spend a whole lot of time in NXT. I think it was like 6 months. But he was absolutely fantastic. I love Apollo Crews. He's kind of like Baron Corbin. It's going to be interesting to see what he can do. He hasn't had a lot of matches on the main roster yet, but it's going to be interesting to see what he can do and see if they'll actually put a title on him. So that's going to be really interesting. So that's going to do it for my review. Check back tomorrow for my top 5 favorite moments from Monday Night Raw, and then again on Wednesday for my review of WWE Money in the Bank. That was an absolutely fantastic pay-per-view. Huge twist at the end of the night. It was fantastic. So check back for that. And as always, let me know what you thought of my review, what you thought of this pay-per-view, NXT TakeOver The End, and your thoughts on this channel in the comments below. God bless you. I'm down for the 3 count. 1, 2, 3. My name is Brandon Duchair Craven. See you next time. God bless you.